I'm Karen Devine. Here at KESQ News Channel 3, we have covered the fentanyl crisis extensively, talking with families who have lost loved ones to a fatal dose. He had just graduated high school. Loza says he was left to die when he lost consciousness after taking a pill. To the professionals who help those addicted and what the drug does to the body. Her company contracts with treatment facilities doing intakes, detox protocols, medication management, and harm reduction. We've gone in depth with boots on the ground, law enforcement who are inundated with overdose calls and deaths. Sheriff's investigator Danny Hollingsworth is part of a 5-member unit. Lawmakers at the state capitol working to find common ground on how to deal with the problem. Every district is losing people to this fentanyl crisis, so this has to be a bipartisan issue. Parents demanding change, forming nonprofits to spread the word on the dangers of the drug.
Californians are being killed by drug dealers distributing fentanyl.
The district attorney's office pushing for tougher laws for dealers, and the prosecutors who are now getting some murder convictions.
The defendant being charged with murder in a fentanyl poisoning death.
This fentanyl town hall is a conversation that is aimed at delivering deeper insight into the different ways the battle against this national epidemic, which has reached the Coachella Valley, is being addressed aggressively at many different levels, and how you can help in the fight.
News Channel 3 and the Women Leaders Forum of the Coachella Valley present Combating the Fentanyl Crisis, a town hall discussion. Brought to you commercial-free by the County of Riverside.
The era of people just freely experimenting with drugs, it's over.
Frankly, a lot of people dying. A lot of people dying from fentanyl.
He had enough fentanyl in him to kill almost 3 people.
100% of the pills that are made by the cartels contain fentanyl. 100%.
There's a bipartisan will to see something get done and to really solve this problem. Unfortunately, the Public Safety Committee doesn't see it that way, but we have confidence that we're going to be able to build a coalition moving forward of Republicans and Democrats to address this issue.
I have heard from patients that it is a higher high, takes less to get the same high. It's cheaper. Unfortunately, it's more accessible these days than other opiates, and your body becomes physically dependent faster.
We are letting drug dealers become death dealers, and they're distributing this poison that we call fentanyl throughout our communities, and we're basically letting them get away with it.
If somebody is peddling poison in our community and kills someone, incarceration is the right answer for them.
Before I introduce them, some fentanyl facts. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that is up to 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. Over 150 people die every day from poisonings related to synthetic opioids like fentanyl. In 2023, the death rate topped 112,000 in a 12-month period for the first time, according to the CDC. Here in California, there were 806 deaths attributed to fentanyl, according to the Department of Public Health, up from nearly 650 in 2022. Adults aged 26 to 39 years old had the highest rates of fentanyl poisonings in 2023. Riverside County fentanyl-related deaths from January to October 2023 reached 428. And the Coachella Valley continues to have the most fentanyl-related poisonings and deaths compared to the rest of the county. Let's meet our panelists. From left to right, we have Jennifer Loza. She lost her 18-year-old son, Stephen, to fentanyl poisoning. She now takes her Forever 18 program and speaks at schools about the dangers of the drug and runs a nonprofit. Ronnie's House, that helps people with grief. Next to Jennifer is Debbie Bennett, a distinguished psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner and certified addiction nurse, an expert in mental health and addiction. Investigator Danny Hollingsworth, an investigator with the Riverside County Sheriff's Office, currently assigned to the Overdose Death Investigations Narcotics Unit, specializing in exposure to or death caused by fentanyl poisoning. And Republican Assemblyman Greg Wallace represents District 47, which includes 7 of the 9 Valley cities. He has been outspoken on the efforts at the state capitol to get stronger legislation passed to punish dealers. And Deputy District Attorney Jerry Full has been with the Riverside County DA's office for 16 years. Last year, he prosecuted the first state-level fentanyl-related death jury trial in the nation and got a murder conviction. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. Let's start with Investigator Hollingsworth. You are literally boots on the ground. We were just talking about you. You're called to the scene of a fentanyl-related poisoning or death. When did the department realize they needed a special unit to start investigating fentanyl? And explain what you're seeing in terms of who the victims are.
I'm not too privy to when my administration decided to create this unit. I would presume it was probably in 2020. In March of 21, so almost exactly 3 years ago, Sheriff's Department and Sheriff Chad Bianco created this unit, which became ODIN, the Overdose Death Investigations Narcotics Unit. And in regards to who we're seeing it across all demographics, from babies who have been exposed to fentanyl that belong to their parents, to juveniles and teenagers, all the way up into persons in their 60s, sometimes 70s. It's every race, every male, female, almost every type of person is using fentanyl.
You had told me at one point that you come to the Coachella Valley more than you ever had in your career, because you're based out of, well, Riverside, correct?
Our office is in Paris, so we cover the whole county. But yes, the Coachella Valley keeps us busy. We're out here very often.
Thank you. Now, Jennifer, you lost your son Stephen at just 18 years old from fentanyl poisoning. Talk about how losing your son has changed you as a person and how it's led to your Forever 18 discussions with students and parents.
Well, as you can imagine, when you lose a child, it changes everything. The only way I can really describe it is when you lose your child, your world it loses color. It's just gray. And the first year you spend really trying to figure out just how to survive and find your will to survive. I'm grateful that because of my niece and my son, they gave me the strength to really remember that they're watching me and how I'm grieving and how I'm dealing with trauma, and you want to model the best that you can for them. So my grief process looks very much like finding purpose to pain. So the only way I could think to keep my son close to me and truly connected to him was to create Forever 18. And we go to the schools and we talk to the kids, and I share Stephen's story, and his ashes come with me when we talk to high schoolers. And kind of teach them things that they don't really know. They don't know there's a Good Samaritan law that they can call to save lives. They don't understand not to put their lives in the hands of their friends. They don't understand what that really looks like. And for me, Stephen's there with me, and it kind of changes from Stephen being about the day he died to more being about who he was when he was alive. And we're still doing our best to save lives together.
Thank you, Jennifer. Now, Debbie, you've been working in the field of addiction for decades, and you've seen what all sorts of drugs and alcohol can do to the body. How is fentanyl different, and what do your clients say about the detox process?
Well, almost everyone that's coming into treatment these days have fentanyl in their system, whether they know it or not. Everything on the streets laced with fentanyl, and I think that's a big thing, that it's not just don't do fentanyl these days. You have to tell kids don't do anything, because everything is laced with it. And unfortunately, it's more accessible, it's cheaper, and the withdrawal symptoms are more severe. So you become addicted more quickly, and you need to use it more often so you don't get sick. It's rampant right now.
Thank you, Debbie. Assemblyman Wallace, on this topic, you've told me that there's a bipartisan effort at the state capitol because, after all, this epidemic affects all of us. What are the biggest roadblocks continuing to deny new legislation that would address harsher penalties for drug dealers and give law enforcement more authority?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. There's a strong bipartisan contingent that works in and day out up in the legislature, up in Sacramento, to try and put tougher laws on the books, right? Unfortunately, last year we fell short often solely due to a select few members of the public safety committees. So both in the Senate and the Assembly, you had a few folks that had more of a lenient view on how we should view criminal justice reform. And I get it, right? The argument here is we don't want to return to the failed war on drugs. That's not what we're talking about when we're talking about fentanyl. We're talking about a poison where one pill can literally kill you. And so we need to be able to go after, and we need to be able to give law enforcement the tools to keep these dangerous drugs off of our streets, out of our communities. So last year we had limited success. We were able to, it was through a process that we call a WARF, without reference to file. We actually pulled a bill through the committee process, brought it directly to the legislative floor, and made every member go on record, put some pressure on the Public Safety Committee to do an informational hearing then on fentanyl and actually take some action when it comes to increasing penalties against large traffickers, large amounts of fentanyl. We also did a lot of good work on the treatment and the rehabilitation space. That's an area where you see almost unanimous agreement, right? We want to have more Narcan, we want to have more naloxone out there, we want to make that more accessible to people, but that doesn't solve the problem. We still need to go after the third leg of that stool, and that's the prevention side of things. So this year we have new chairs in both the Assembly and Senate Public Safety Committees. There's a numerous number of bills through the Problem Solvers Caucus, which I'm a member of, aimed at addressing and increasing penalties for fentanyl dealers. We're very optimistic we're going to be able to see some better movement on that this time around.
Wonderful. All right, Deputy District Attorney Full, obviously there's been some changes in state law previous to your first state conviction. The cases were handled federally. What changed, and can you briefly explain the details in this case and how much time the convicted dealer is getting behind bars?
Absolutely. So what we had for the longest time was really the only teeth, the only way we could prosecute individuals who furnished fentanyl, and that furnishing resulted in the death of a person, was at the federal level. But you can imagine our federal partners, that is not the focus of their investigation. Day to day on the street level, like Danny, making sure that they are checking overdoses and investigating them as murders. So what happened was it was a collective process between District Attorney Mike Hester and Chad Bianco, our sheriff, and it was the idea that, look, we can start looking at these as murders. And quite frankly, it wasn't even a change in the law. There has been a law when it comes to murder for probably as long as laws have been on the books for something called implied malice murder. And really, that's just a fancy way of saying when you do something that you know is deadly to human life, and you have some subjective appreciation, and you still do that, you still give that fentanyl to someone else, knowing the deadly risk, but with a conscious disregard, you do it anyway. That is second-degree murder. And so we were, with the help of our law enforcement partners, with tremendous amounts of research, because we wanted to make sure that we did it right. We wanted to make sure that we weren't setting anyone up for failure in these prosecutions. And thankfully, as mentioned, last year, we were able to prosecute at the state level the first time where a jury of members of our community, unanimously, 12 strong, said this person who gave fentanyl, knowing the dangers, was a murderer.
Investigator Hollingsworth, with more convictions and the message out there that Riverside County is serious about stopping the sale and distribution of fentanyl and will press charges, are you seeing any kind of slowdown in poisonings or deaths related to fentanyl? And are pills still the way the drug is being used, or are you seeing more powder?
I think after talking to many of these users and dealers, they're becoming aware that law enforcement within this county and the district attorney are filing charges. And frankly, they're starting to change their tactics on how they deal with us and how when we interview and things of that nature. But you know, going back to some of the numbers, the numbers might sound bad, and they are, but I think things are starting to plateau. In 2019, there was about 111 fentanyl-related deaths in our county. In 2022, there was about 500. Last year, there was 524. So, terrible numbers, but at least it's starting to plateau, and I hope with with new legislation and with what we're doing in our county with the DA and the sheriff, Hope things get better. That's my hope. In regards to what people are using, I think that we're starting to see a lot more powder. In the early days, the 2019, 2020, 2021, we saw a lot more pills from our point of view, from law enforcement's point of view. But it's also, in a way, it's almost a sort of a cultural thing. The younger adults and the juveniles seem to be using more of the pills, and persons that were more addicted to heroin have moved on to fentanyl powder. And so that's what we're seeing from our angle.
All right, thank you. Jennifer, no arrests have been made in your son's case. Are you pursuing this?
Unfortunately for me, pursuing it wasn't an option. My son died in 2020, so this is kind of when things really started getting going. The mindset of police officers at that time, at least in the city in which my son died, were different. The mindset at the time was that my son was out there killing himself. So the sergeant in charge let me know that they never had any intention of filing charges or pursuing it, that I was just looking for someone to blame. So I very quickly had to kind of shift my thought from how do I get justice in another way? It wasn't healthy for me to hang on to that, because at the end of the day, nothing would bring him back.
And so what do you tell people that you're speaking to, whether it's students or administrators, about using drugs? Because obviously it's not just, your son didn't know there was fentanyl in that drug.
Not that I'm aware of. I wasn't there. Our main message to kids is don't put your life in the hands of somebody else. We really focus on the fact that my son was with 3 people. They had Narcan, they had phones, they had a parent in the main house, but they did nothing. They literally watched him die over 3 hours. So we spread that message to the kids to make it clear we all think we have a ride or die. But when the rubber hits the road and things are getting sticky, you don't know who's going to stick around. So we really emphasize that, and the 911 Good Samaritan law, making sure that they understand they can call for help and they have some level of protection. You know, the goal is the consequences of letting your friend die are going to stick with you far longer than maybe the consequences of your mom finding out what you did. One's a temporary problem, one's permanent.
Good point, yeah. Thank you. Debbie, you've told me you've had clients going through recovery who believed they were addicted to one type of drug, and after being tested, found out they had fentanyl in their bloodstream. How often is that happening?
A lot. Again, sometimes patients come in, they say, I'm here for methamphetamine, but I don't understand why I'm having certain withdrawal symptoms, and we test them, and it's because their methamphetamine was laced with fentanyl, and they were not even aware. In other instances, people believe they are doing opiates. I had one patient come in who had been buying Percocets off the street, and your typical urine drug screen will test for all opiates except for fentanyl. And before I start certain medications, I want to know what's in their system. And we were doing the urine drug screens, and it was coming back negative for all opiates. And she's like, I'm telling you the truth. I'm buying opiates off the street. And we finally did a separate fentanyl test, and she came back positive for fentanyl. And that's when she's like, okay, that makes sense, because I'm, having to buy more, I'm having to take more, and these withdrawal symptoms are worse than I've ever had before. So, again, it's not just about telling the people or educating don't do fentanyl, it's don't buy anything off the streets, because you could be another accidental overdose.
Assemblyman Wallace, in the case of Alexandra Capilouto, the young woman from Temecula whose father is here tonight, can you explain Alexandra's law, how it's modeled after the state's DUI advisory, and the push for it to be part of a ballot measure?
Yeah, absolutely. So Alexandra's law is essentially a fentanyl admonishment bill or law, piece of legislation here that is very similar to the state's DUI law. So if you are charged with a DUI, you're notified that if you are convicted again and you hit someone and you kill them, right, you can be charged for manslaughter, murder, And what that does is it allows our prosecutors the ability to say, hey, you're not allowed to claim ignorance here. You're not allowed to say that I didn't know this could happen to me. We want to get that on record. So we want to use, and by the way, this has been very effective. If you look when our DUI admonishment law was put into statute, you saw a dramatic decrease in DUI driving incidents and convictions there. It's because it's an effective deterrent, right? So we're going to try and take that. We know this is an evidence-based approach. We're going to try and take that and do that with fentanyl and furnishing of fentanyl. So last year we had Senate Bill 44 that fell short because of, again, our friends in the public safety committees. This year you're seeing a watered-down effort brought through in the legislature, SB 21. They removed the language about furnishing. They talk about sales. We're going to continue to try and support that, but the better option is actually this district attorney's back reform of Proposition 47 that has Alexander's Law rolled into it completely. Matt's been a fantastic partner. He's up there at the Capitol fighting every day with us. Every time we need him, he's up there. We tried an approach last year. It was called ACA 7. It was going to be similar to this, but focused solely on Alexander's Law. This wholesale Prop 47 reform effort that has Alexander's Law in it, that's the best solution, and that's what we need to be supporting.
Tell us what it's like to get to know the family of the homicide victim and how you put your emotions aside to fight for justice.
It is absolutely brutal. It is probably one of the hardest things in my professional career has been to have those conversations with parents, with friends, with family, where we could not reach our ethical burden, where we could not prove that implied malice. If, quite frankly, I asked this group, how many people here know that fentanyl is dangerous? Everybody would raise their hand. But our legal standard is we have to show actual subjective knowledge. So really, you have parents who are coming to us seeking hope, and we have to, and it's our rightful obligation, to make sure that we are abiding by our ethical and just guidelines. But you're right. When you have a parent who has lost not one, but two of their kids to fentanyl, when they have done everything possible, when they're the ones out there having these conversations and they still have to suffer the loss, your heart breaks for them. And it makes it where every single person here knows that if they can save one life, if they can get just some semblance of justice for someone who is not going to hug that family member ever again, that's what we're working for.
Thank you so much, and thank you to the panel. Can we get please a big round of applause? What we were hoping to bring to you today was some different perspectives and to show you that people are fighting behind the scenes in this fentanyl fight. We will have more information for you, and of course you can always go to kesq.com. A big thank you to all of our panelists for their time and for sharing their knowledge about how the fentanyl epidemic is so severe that it has forced health professionals, law enforcement, lawmakers, and even parents to take action in this fight. Some of you may be wondering what you can do in your everyday life to help in the effort to combat the fentanyl crisis. Matt Capilouto is the president of the organization Drug-Induced Homicide. But more importantly, he's a dad who lost his daughter, Alexandra, to fentanyl poisoning.
We have terrible laws here in California that do not hold drug dealers accountable when they distribute this poison and it results in death. So I'm here to garnish support for a ballot measure, the Homelessness, Drug Addiction, and Theft Reduction Act. It's a measure we're trying to get on the November ballot.
Capilouto is a regular at the state capitol pushing for change and connecting with other parents who have lost their children to fentanyl poisoning and promoting Alexandra's Law.
Alexandra's Law is simply a warning to fentanyl dealers. If they're arrested for a fentanyl-related offense, they're going to get a warning letting them know that if they continue furnishing fentanyl and it results in somebody's death, that they can be held accountable for murder.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction or you are concerned about the possibility of drug use, here are some signs to look for. The 3 A's: appearance, changes in how they look, dress, or care for themselves. Attitude, changes in how they treat people close to them. And attendance, stop showing up for events, school activities, or family gatherings. Other signs to look out for include bloodshot eyes, pupils larger or smaller than usual, changes in appetite or sleep patterns, deterioration of physical appearance, personal grooming habits, runny nose or sniffing, sudden weight loss or weight gain, tremors, slurred speech, or impaired coordination. When we're talking about overdose prevention, first responders and now most school districts carry naloxone, also known as Narcan.
My fingers touch. Press it.
It's a life-saving medication that can reverse an opioid overdose. Narcan is safe and easy to use and works immediately. It's available over the counter without a prescription at pharmacies, convenience stores, grocery stores, and gas stations, as well as online. All 3 school districts in the Valley, including Palm Springs, Desert Sands, and Coachella Valley Unified, are taking a proactive approach to the fentanyl crisis. Narcan is now on every campus. That, along with educating students, faculty, and staff, they say is key.
We have it embedded in the curriculum for middle school and high school and even our elementary. Elementary is very different. It's just your basic, safety of medication, because we now know fentanyl can come in and look like candy.
The crisis is so prevalent, the California Department of Public Health issued a statewide standing order to increase access to Narcan.
Administration has been trained, health service techs have been trained, and anyone that volunteers, security, front office staff. Over the summer, we were able to train 80 paraprofessionals. Also, staff from transportation has been trained.
For more resources and how to find help, head to our website, kesq.com.